think the recording didn't stop or didn't start. So that whole thing might not have been recorded.
Oh.
Well, you're just going to repeat it next time because you did very well.
Yeah, you did.
That's a bummer. Oh, well. Okay, so my challenge for this coming week is, I can't really say, to go out there and get your team members committed to convention. But if you have not already purchased your convention ticket, purchase your convention ticket. I'd also like to know who would be interested in doing the bundle. I know we need at least 10, and there are also 25 and 50 as an option. So if we have 10 team members, I know last year our team, we had over 20 at convention. So, and maybe even more than that. I think we might have even had 25 or 26. So I would say get yourself committed, get it on your calendar, book your hotel. The room block is available now. So book your hotel. I know, Woody, you usually do Airbnb, so book your Airbnb.
I already did it.
You already did it. Yay! And then buy your convention ticket or talk to your team about doing a bundle and get it on your calendar. So, and start figuring out what your goals are. Envision what rank you want to be at the next convention and how many team members you'd like to have there. So challenge for next week is to have your travel arrangements booked, get as many team members as possible to commit, and then write down what your goals are. Really sit and visualize who you want to be at this next convention. Do you want to be on stage, walking across stage as a senior manager? Do you want to be one of the executives that are high-fiving the senior managers? Do you want to be a senior executive? Do you want to be an eagle? I know we have all different ranks on our team. So what is your goal for the next convention? And how many team members is your goal to have there? So those are this week's challenges. I know it's a hefty one because I gave multiple, but so anybody have any success stories for this week?
The first send-out card I sent when I to prospect, they received that. They did thank me very much and several times, and they said they're going to be keeping in touch with me.
Fantastic.
So they're telling me they're probably next week or so just to get reconnected with them, which I thought that was quite interesting.
That's fantastic. And was this someone that you are hoping to list a home with, or someone you already sold a home to?
Well, just a process here. Someone possibly listing, but I just went ahead and I told them I just passed by, took a picture, and then I must say, Sue did, walk me through the process and doing that. She did a good job in that, and then on checks and balance, and then I did mail up his brownies and stuff, and they said, yeah, we received it and all of that.
Very
so good. I thought it was an interesting one.
Awesome.
But I need to do more of that, actually.
Yeah. So, think about what Bruce Waterman does, the 5 cards a day. So maybe your first 15 minutes in the office every day, you could sit down and think, okay, what past clients do I need to reach out to appreciate? What people in my personal life do I need to send cards to? And what prospects do I want to send cards to? And maybe you can set a goal for 5 cards every day. They don't have to include brownies every single time. But
sure.
You can stop and think, okay, who are the 5 people that need to hear from me today? And make sure that some of those are just heartfelt cards. They're not prospecting cards. But if you do that regularly, the business will grow.
Yeah, actually, it's the send out card. I think I see a lot of applications because I'm looking at this one, you have the business part of it, but I think there's the social, you know, other social part of it that not necessarily the business part of it. It has a lot of things that you could do that could be really touching.
Mhm.
So I have a long list of things that I have in here. I have really very ambitious list of things I have that I think need to do. I'm just give myself the opportunity and time frame to learn it, to master it, and then implement. So I've been a lot more in the learning process in here, and but I see a lot of application. It's not just really just a business, because the other side of it can help you even grow a business, but you're not necessarily focusing just on the business part of it.
Right.
So it's exciting. I looked at it, I see that there's a lot of potential, extraordinary potential. I think probably a year from now we'll be talking something totally different.
Awesome. So,
Of course, I took time. I didn't know we met several times, and then Tracy and Sue, and then we talked about it, opportunities, and it all just on a step by step. I think there's a lot of potential here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of potential. How was your week, Woody?
Good. There's different regions out here. Well, you know, you're from California, so the Inland Empire of Temecula,
Uh-huh.
Palm Springs, the high desert up by Victorville on the way to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have a distributor down in Palm Springs now, and I've got a really good customer and an in on the BNI thing up there. So a couple of appointments this week. And then out of the blue in BNI, I missed this. This woman gave a talk, and I missed it. I don't know if you can see this.
30 days to stop sucking.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can you see her name?
Jessica Lewis.
Yeah. But I think you love this book. I think I got it for shipping and handling. So you should write it down and grab the book. It's 30 days of working on yourself. And Temecula is a big, big deal. You know, it's a lot of money down there. A lot of new money, basically.
Uh-huh.
But it is not old money like San Diego or Riverside, but it's new money, and it flows easy. And I didn't expect this, but on the way home, I had a referral from her immediately. I have an appointment tomorrow at 10:30. So and she invited me down to Temecula to introduce send-out cards.
Fantastic.
So all I wanted to do was meet her because I heard about this book, and she's really fascinating and bright, and that's how things happen.
Yeah.
So I put my mind on these little sections and meeting people in the sections and watching it grow.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's one thing. You're very fortunate that you're in a high population area. That's one thing Sue and I really struggle with, is that we have to drive 2 hours basically one way to get to a population center. And so, you know, especially in the winter months, that's kind of troublesome.
Oh, I can't even imagine it. Do you look at it like, I'm going to go to this population center because I know they know people, other population centers, and I want to get there?
You know, Nebraska is kind of one of those states where everybody knows everybody. Woody, you're going to find this number just absolutely crazy, because I know myself personally, being from San Diego, but our entire state population is less than 2 million.
2 million?
Yeah, in our whole state.
That's 10%.
Right?
Of like Orange County and San Diego.
Exactly. Yes.
Wow.
San Diego's like 6 million people. And so for me, you know, I think I had more people in my graduating class than my husband had in his hometown. So my graduating class of 650, and my husband came from a town that, you know, now the population is like 700. He had 18 in his graduating class. I didn't even have a single class at school that only had 18 students in the classroom at a time. You know, I mean, like, that's just unheard of. So for me to think my whole state, if every single person in my state was in one place at one time, it's 2 million people.
Yeah.
That's insane. You have 2 million people within a, you know, 2 square mile radius, you know, I mean,
but it feels like,
it's just, it's so different. So, you know, it has its challenges, but it's also very much the kind of place where everybody knows everybody. So if you need introduced to someone, I guess it's probably a slightly easier place to find an introduction, because you can literally say, hey, do you know so-and-so? No, but I know somebody who might.
Yeah, that's good for you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice for us, because, you know, you can say to a friend, hey, you know that business XYZ, do you know who owns that? Yeah, I think that guy is married to, you know, my cousin or whatever. So that's basically how it works around here. Everybody's related to everybody. So, but it's, you know, it has its challenges and its benefits, I guess. But Sue and I really look at Lincoln like it's a gateway to all the other places. So it's, you know, it's a good population center. It's also a huge business capital. That's where the University of Nebraska Lincoln is, and they kind of call it Silicon Valley on the prairie. So there's a lot of big business here.
How far is that from you?
That's 2 hours one way.
It's like going to LA then.
Yeah, basically for you. Yeah. And a little bit farther than if like you were going down to San Diego or something. So yeah, it's you know, it can be challenging, but it's exciting at the same time because there's so much there. And the other nice thing about it versus the small town that we live in is that there business people have more competition. So they're outside of the box thinkers a little bit more than in our small town.
Right.
You know, in our small town, like as an example, my husband owns a window tinting business and he does commercial and residential film as well as automotive film. And in our small town of around 30,000 people, there are 4 window tint companies. One does just flat glass, so just commercial and residential glass. And they're also a glass company. So they don't specialize in window tint, but it's a service they offer. Then another one does, it's a automotive glass company, but they also do window tint and they'll do flat glass and automotive. Then there's another one that does just automotive window tinting. And then my husband who does both. So very small area, and we have several competitors. Whereas a lot of people here, they have their little niche, and so they don't really feel like they need to step outside of their realm to gain clientele. You know, in my husband's case, you know, we don't really feel a lot of need to compete with our competitors because he's been in business longer than the rest of them and just has a completely different clientele. People come to him from all over, from other states and everything. So, you know, he doesn't feel it as much, but like realtors in Kearney, there are almost 100 realtors in Kearney, and sometimes there are more realtors than there are properties for sale in our community because it's such a small area. And our realtors still don't feel the need to think outside of the box. But if you tell them you want to show their competitors send out cards, they'll say, oh, I don't want my competitor to have it. But they won't make that leap themselves. Yeah. Whereas like Osman, you know, where he's dealing with a hugely competitive market, he wants to be that, you know, leader of the pack. So
right.
He's on that side of the box. And Lincoln is just a little more fashion forward, if you want to use that term, and they're just a little more fashion forward. So we'd love to get into Omaha. That's the big city in Nebraska. That's like their metro area is Council Bluffs, Elkhorn, Omaha, Millard, Bellevue, Papillion. They say there's about 1 million people in that metro area. And so that's 3 hours from Kearney. That's slightly farther to drive. But huge opportunity, huge opportunity. So we've kind of been working our way, I guess you could say. So, you know, and it's things like we'd love to join a BNI in one of those towns, but that's a huge commitment to be on the road every single week on that day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's holding us back there. But
what I'm looking for now is to get the next distributor to not be in BNI for their business, but tell them, yeah, this is what it costs to get into send out cards, but you really need to look at it as a full $1,000 because the other money's got to go to BNI. And they said
Yeah.
your business will take off. And then so they'll be established in another BNI, another region.
yeah,
That's my goal now I'm always looking for that. Always. Find a distributor and plug them in to BNI. A distributor that's thinks ahead, has $1,000 to invest in the business, will make it back in 3 months.
oh yeah,
Without even trying in 3 months, I did. And I wasn't even trying, I already had it back. So
Sue and I the same. Yeah.
same thing, yeah.
Did you see Woody Jordan's post last week about he went and visited his old
Yes.
and how he'd been out of it for 7 or 8 years and there had not been another Send Out Cards member in all that time?
I know.
That's crazy. But I mean, think about it. Sue's in the one and only BNI that we have here. There are 17 in Lincoln where Osman is.
Wow.
And there are none that have just a Send Out Cards distributor. There might be several that have business owners that use Send Out Cards, but there are none that just have a Send Out Cards distributor, and that's what they're there promoting. So
That's what they need. Hey, Osman, you could do that.
yeah.
Well, I have I'm pretty ambitious, and usually I do take risk and initiate things. So because if I don't succeed, I learn. So
That's right.
and as I said again, I've seen a lot of applications before getting into it, really getting in deep into demonstration. I didn't see it initially, what the deep part, but when I went through the whole thing and look at where, whether the past client or family members or just people you knew sometimes, and being able to connect with them and then, showing them that you really care. It's not issue of just business, but it's beyond. I'm looking at really beyond business. I'm looking at really a true relationship and sort of making other people worth, something that you showing it to them. I'm seeing a lot of things myself really beyond just business, and that's beautiful about it. I've been reading. That book of Jim McCord, I read it, in one day. I read it maybe 2 or 3 times because it was the point it was so showing. And Sue said something about it, Tracy said something about it, and obviously, I knew we had a pretty nice, good connection to start. We met then and we communicating. The communication never stopped, and there's opportunity there. So I'm saying that opportunities for Lincoln and maybe surrounding cities and stuff, that possibly to be able to reach out at some stage. But I want to make sure that, as I said again, build the foundation strong enough to be able to support and expand.
Right.
That's what I'm looking for.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, now that I finally got the recording started, we're 20 minutes over. So I'll go ahead and end tonight's call. Thank you guys for joining me. And to reiterate again, this week's challenge is to make your travel plans for convention and to write down your goals. What rank do you want to achieve? And how many team members would you like to have at convention? And we will see you all next week. Thanks,
all right.
guys.
Thank you.
Later.